Welcome to Postcast, maybe. David Locke along with Kevin Pelton, Ron Boone. Jazz beat the Blazers late in this one and pull off a interesting end because Quinn Snyder decided to keep his 5 starters on the floor and really play around. And we saw Quinn Snyder, Ron. We saw him bring Rudy Gobert off the bench. We saw him run some tricky plays. We really saw kind of the mastermind that we've seen at training camp. We've been trying to tell the fans about. We saw it in person.
Everything that they're doing right now is something that needs to be done, meaning their offense is something they're going to use during the course of the year that they need to have everyone else involved. I'm just babbling here, but everything that they're doing right now has a purpose to it because this is things that they're going to use, during the course of the year. And that play that they ran with the 3-point shot there with Trey, I mean, that's going to be something that they might want to run during the course of the year. So experience and repetition and just running things over and over and over, guys get used to running it and get it done.
If you missed it, the Jazz fell behind by 9 in the fourth quarter. They kept their starters on the floor while Portland went to their bench, and the starters made a run back, a 10-0 run to take the lead. And then late in the game, we played possession-by-possession basketball. We saw Quinn Snyder manage it. The 3 Ron's talking about to Trey Burke. But the really interesting thing to me was situational substitutions for a potential offensive rebound at Alec Burke at the free throw lines. And Rudy, it might have also been that Cantor, I look back, had 5 fouls, so maybe didn't want Cantor to foul out of the game. Could have been the other scenario. But Gobert comes in, keeps the rebound alive. Alec picks it up after missing both free throws, gives the Jazz the lead. And then we see him flip the other side where Trevor Booker comes in for a defensive substitution so they can switch, and he bothers the C.J. McCollum. I don't know if they all went that reason, if we're giving Quinn too much credit, but every little move he made here in the first time we've seen him was pretty fabulous.
They all paid off, absolutely. Yeah, we see a lot of guys go offense-defense substitution in terms of coaching late in games, but let's take it one step further to extremely small situations, specifically that free throw and the chance of an offensive rebound.
All right, let's just go big picture for a second. Let me start with Ron. We've seen him twice. What jumps out at you so far?
You keep asking me that question, and I think that it's basically the improvement that they're making, the confidence that they're getting, how comfortable they're getting with the offense and the defense. And we talk a lot about the offense. We have to give them kudos for the way they're playing defense, but there's still a purpose out there. They're not giving up too many layups. But the Portland Trail Blazers had a pretty good shooting night, if you want to look at it that way. But they're getting better at everything that they're trying to do. Now, the downside and the problem that you have is you're trying to work in and play a lot of guys. You're trying to see what guys can play together. You're trying to see what guys are going to be on the team for the most part, and that type of thing. And so his hands are tied in certain aspects of the game, but he's also getting a lot of experience there for those starters because Gordon played a lot of minutes tonight.
Played 9-guy rotation. I thought each of our guys looked a little bit better tonight than I've ever seen them, frankly. Trey, I thought, looked a little better. Gordon, at times, looked as good as he did in that Oklahoma City game. His first half was brilliant. There were a lot of really bright spots. Kevin, you don't see these guys all the time. You hear about them a lot from me, but what was your impressions tonight?
I think what stood out to me and kind of the reason behind what you're talking about with all of those guys looking a little bit better is really the floor being spaced and how much room that creates for guys to operate. And that's practically a mantra for Coach Snyder. And, you see it play out on the court. There's better shots there for Gordon Hayward than he was getting last year when it was the same lineup, the same group of guys on the court. It's good looks for Trey Burke late in the game. It's Alec Burks getting the basket. It's the post players being able to play one-on-one. All of those things, I think, start with spacing.
And what you have is not a lot of standing around. There's always movement. There's movement on the weak side of the floor away from the basketball. And that creates a flow, that creates that pace that he's talking about. Everyone gets involved. And you can just see the guys are really enjoying what they're doing out there.
I think the other one was no transition points allowed for the first 30-some-odd minutes of the game. I mean, we watched practice every day. They opened transition defense, and they did not allow a transition point by Portland for the first 32 or 33 minutes of the game tonight.
And this is a team that gets a lot of transition points at home. They rely on that. That fuels a lot of their runs.
Well, they only gave up 8, if the stats are right.
Yeah, I think they probably are because they gave the Jazz 20. So I actually think it's right. I mean, that's 2 nights in a row. It's also 2 nights in a row these guys didn't shoot free throws well. So we can take the positives and flip it around the other way. It's also 2 nights in a row that all the starters had double-figure points. So I mean, we're seeing that kind of balance as well. We're also seeing Brock Modem leave the area of all of his friends right now, which means that we're going to wrap this up because we don't know how fast this coach gets out of arenas yet. Bye. See you later. We don't want to stay in Portland tonight.